Something is changing. Something fans never expected. And for many Coronation Street viewers, frustration is reaching breaking point. Because once again the cobbles are being pushed aside. Episodes are disappearing. Schedules are shifting. And loyal fans are being left wondering when they'll actually get their next fix of Weatherfield drama. But while the schedule chaos is causing confusion, an even bigger question is emerging. Could these constant disruptions be changing the future of Coronation Street itself? Because the latest ITV shakeup isn't just affecting one episode. It's affecting an entire week. And the changes are far bigger than many viewers realize. Welcome back to Coronation Street Update. And tonight we're looking at the schedule changes causing outrage among soap fans, the growing impact football is having on ITV's biggest dramas, and the surprising future that could be unfolding behind the scenes. Because the truth may be far more significant than a few missing episodes. And that's where the real mystery begins. For years, Coronation Street has been part of people's routines. Families know exactly when to tune in. Viewers know exactly when to return to Weatherfield. The show has become a habit, comfort, a tradition. But traditions only work when they're predictable. And predictability is becoming increasingly difficult to find. This week, fans once again find themselves searching television guides, checking schedules, double-checking social media, trying to work out when their favorite soap will actually air. At first glance, it may seem like a small inconvenience, a simple schedule adjustment, nothing more. But for many viewers, the frustration runs much deeper. Because this isn't the first disruption. And it certainly doesn't look like the last. The latest shakeup begins with football. Once again, major international matches are taking over ITV's evening schedule. And while football fans may be celebrating, soap viewers are facing a very different reality. Episodes moved. Episodes delayed. Episodes disappearing altogether. And suddenly the familiar rhythm of the week is gone. But that's only the beginning. Because what happens next leaves many fans even more frustrated. Tuesday evening should have followed the usual pattern. Emmerdale. Then Coronation Street. Simple. Reliable. Expected. Instead, coverage of England's international fixture completely takes over the schedule. The football dominates the evening. And the soaps are nowhere to be seen. For viewers invested in ongoing storylines, that's not just disappointing. It's disruptive. Mysteries are left hanging. Cliffhangers remain unresolved. Questions go unanswered. And audiences are forced to wait even longer for the next chapter. But one detail changes everything. Because Wednesday doesn't restore normality. Instead, ITV introduces another change. Another adjustment. Another disruption. This time both soaps are pushed earlier than usual. Fans who rely on routine suddenly need to adapt yet again. And that's where a bigger concern starts to emerge. How many schedule changes can viewers tolerate before they stop trying to keep up? It's a question some fans are already asking. Because loyalty has limits. And confusion can quickly become frustration. However, another problem is already emerging. Thursday brings perhaps the biggest disruption of all. No new episodes. None. Instead, football once again takes center stage. The World Cup opening ceremony arrives. Then comes the opening match itself. And suddenly an entire evening of soap drama disappears. No Weatherfield. No Dales. No dramatic confrontations. No shocking revelations. Nothing. For dedicated viewers, it creates a strange feeling. A gap. Pause. A sense that something is missing. And perhaps that's why reactions online have become increasingly emotional. Because for many people, these programs aren't simply television shows. They're part of daily life. Part of family routines. Part of evening conversations. And every interruption feels personal. But then things become even more complicated. Because Friday offers what appears to be compensation. Longer episodes. Extended broadcasts. Extra soap content. On paper it sounds like a solution. A way to give fans back what they've lost. But some viewers aren't convinced. Because missing episodes throughout the week changes momentum. Storylines lose rhythm. Suspense is interrupted. And emotional investment becomes harder to maintain. Especially when viewers aren't entirely sure when the next episode will arrive. And that uncertainty is creating an entirely new debate. One that stretches far beyond football. Because many fans are beginning to ask whether television habits themselves are changing. And if they are, what does that mean for Coronation Street? The answer may be surprisingly complicated. Because behind all these schedule changes lies a transformation that began earlier this year. A transformation that fundamentally changed how ITV presents its soaps. The broadcaster introduced what became known as the Soap Power Hour. A major restructuring. A new approach. A new strategy. And while some viewers welcomed the changes, others remained unconvinced. For decades, audiences became accustomed to specific formats, specific timings, specific routines. Then suddenly everything shifted. Emmerdale changed. Coronation Street changed. The viewing experience changed. And whenever long-standing traditions change, uncertainty follows. Some fans adapt quickly. Others struggle. And that's exactly why the latest disruptions are generating so much discussion. Because they arrive at a time when many viewers are already adjusting to a different television landscape. But perhaps the biggest mystery isn't what's happening this week. It's what happens next. Because football tournaments come and go. Schedules eventually return to normal. Yet the broader questions remain. How much flexibility are audiences willing to accept? Will younger viewers embrace changing schedules more easily? Can traditional soaps continue competing in an entertainment world that increasingly operates on demand? And perhaps most importantly, what does ITV's long-term vision actually look like? Those questions become even more fascinating when you consider the future of Britain's biggest soaps. Coronation Street has survived for generations. Economic downturns, industry changes, technological revolutions, shifting viewing habits, streaming competition, and countless predictions about its future. Yet somehow it remains standing, still producing drama, still generating headlines, still keeping audiences invested. That resilience is remarkable. But resilience doesn't eliminate uncertainty. And uncertainty seems to be everywhere right now. The television industry is evolving rapidly. Viewer habits are changing. Competition is increasing. And broadcasters are constantly searching for new ways to balance live events with flagship programs. Football creates huge audiences. Soaps create loyal audiences. Both are valuable. Both are important. And finding room for both is becoming increasingly difficult. Which means this week's disruption may represent something larger. Not simply a scheduling inconvenience, but a glimpse into the future battle for television audiences. A battle that could influence how viewers experience Coronation Street for years to come. And if that's true, the real story isn't about one missed episode. It's about what these changes reveal. Because every schedule adjustment tells us something. Every disruption offers a clue. Every alteration hints at broader strategies unfolding behind the scenes. Strategies viewers may not fully understand yet, but may eventually feel the effects of. And that's why so many fans are paying attention. Not just because they want to know when Coronation Street is airing, but because they're trying to understand where it's heading. What happens next remains uncertain. Will schedule disruptions become more common? Will the Soap Power Hour continue evolving? Will football continue reshaping the television landscape? Or will viewers eventually see a return to greater stability? Right now, nobody knows for sure. But if one thing is becoming clear, the future of Coronation Street may involve far more change than many fans ever expected. And as viewers prepare for another week of shifting schedules, one uncomfortable question remains hanging over Weatherfield. Is this simply a temporary disruption? Or the beginning of something much bigger? Because when the next major change arrives, fans may discover that the biggest storyline isn't happening on the cobbles at all. It's happening behind the scenes. And the full truth may only just be starting to emerge.